Okay, so you put together some greenbacks and it is now time to buy a car that is under $10,000. So you've come to the right place because today we're going over the best cars you can buy under 10K. Now, calm your tits. We know this list isn't gonna have any supercars in it, but that doesn't mean the cars won't be fun, reliable, and most importantly, you won't be lured in by dealers offering you cars for 0 down with 36% APR that essentially you'll never get out of. If you don't know what that means, let me interest you in this. Very nice. 2 wheels, big rubber. To get this list started with car number 1 in no particular order, the Ford Focus ST. Now I know what you're thinking, I would rather crawl. But think about this. The North Koreans don't even have this 252 horsepower beast featuring a turbocharged 2-liter 4C engine with the only transmission option being a 6-speed manual. Now if that doesn't scream exclusive, I don't know what does. The base version, Sexy Temptation variant, also comes in with 160 horsepower with a 5-speed transmission, but still features keyless entry, split folding rear seats, 15-inch wheels, and get this, airbags. All these add up to give us a car that lives in the shadow of its bigger brother, the RS. But even so, it can definitely hold its own and still be incredibly fun. The steering is quite a bit tight, especially after the 2015 models, and the suspension remains firm, okay? So while accelerating is a lot of fun and it may even have an edge over the priced RS, it gets even more fun when you hit the corners. Even though it's all-wheel drive, and sometimes that's less fun than like everything, it still handles a bit more loose in the city or even regular back roads. You will be able to feel this car stretch itself, and that's what makes it so much fun. As far as options go, you can get Recaro seats added for like $5 grand, and even 2 racing stripes added for $500, as well as Ford's new Sync 3 multimedia system. But moving into the whip itself, it's a hatchback. And that means cargo space. And that's really about all it means, because there's nothing else that stands out about this. There's no sedan version, there's no coupe version. So that's the Ford Focus. But what if you want something that's not so hatchback? You want more sports, a little bit more power, with a little bit of sex appeal. Gentlemen, I give you the Toyota MR2 Spider. Now look at it and tell me you didn't think you were staring at the Lamborghini Gallardo's booty for like half a millisecond. I know you did, I know. Stop it. Bro, they even have the audacity to write the Spider in the cursive on the back. The Toyota Spider's main attribute is that when it comes to establishing you as the alpha male, it works every time, 2% of the time. 2005 was the final production year of the MR2, but for the time, it was impressively lively and dynamic, making it the perfect weekend car, and it was direct competition with, you guessed it, the Mazda Miata, which was in fact more expensive. So although it definitely gets a solid 8 out of 10 on the fun scale, I gave a little booty thrust you didn't see, it is certainly not a daily driver with like 0 cubic liters of volume for your cargo and an absolutely bland interior, but it makes up for that kind of with its 138 horsepower and 125 pound-feet of torque. It just makes it a ton of fun. You're getting a mid-engine whip at a super affordable price. And going over some public reviews about this car, people are ready to die in this thing. Like, they are swearing their lives on it. They are ready to make this their coffin. Now let's calm down a little. Let's calm down. I'm gonna have to ask you to smash that subscribe button because it really helps grow a small channel like ours, and we all really appreciate every single one of you. Also think about it like this, if your future self doesn't come back in time to stop you, how bad of a decision could it really be? Also smash the like button if you like this video, smash the dislike if you dislike it, and let me know in the comment section below how we can improve on with the video. Alright, so we just saw a hatchback drift car, we just saw a Lamborghini Gallardo lookalike under 10,000. So car number 3, once again, is gonna be nothing like the ones before, but perhaps it's the most common car on the streets. Chia-ho. The 2008 Toyota Camry. People, what can I say? It's the year 2023. And I still see these in every single country I've traveled to. And that tells you that the car is not only reliable, but is a perfect daily driver for most of the world population. And looking at the statistics, it absolutely is. We already know about the notorious reliability and drivability. What's more important here, I think, is the interior. You're not getting the stiff handling or suspension with something like the ST, but if you're older and cherish your back, you'll absolutely love it. Wow. There are a few more stats to get through, but I'm kind of done talking about the Camry at this point. So that's the Camry. let's get into exotic cars under $10,000. Let's do it. Yes, they said it. They said it couldn't be done. They doubted, and they were absolutely right. But you can get pretty close with the Nissan 350Z. I hate this freaking thing. Anyways, for some lowlifes, it's a solid option under $10,000, featuring a rear-wheel drive and 286 horsepower V6. 286 horsepower? The 350Z is available in both automatic and manual transmission, but also has a touring and enthusiast version as well, with the most obvious difference being the ride quality. The enthusiast version is incredibly stiff, so go with the touring version. Both versions obviously are going to lack the cargo space, but instead you get the booty to look like that. The only two cars that have ever made me vomit publicly, the old Panameras and this thing. And that Lancer Eclipse, Mitsubishi Eclipse, that garbage. Get that garbage out of here. It does have an okay tune right out of the factory, and the cockpit is quite snug. The most important thing, however, is that you have to admit under $10,000, you're not gonna find another track-focused car that has an engine as powerful as this, so even though it lacks in the daily driver or cargo categories, it is still solid value for your money and also holds value pretty well. For those of us who don't mind buying haunted houses, we'll eat someone's leftover gyro in the subway and are absolutely fine with the chef's hair on our mac and cheese, might I tempt you with the Mitsubishi Lancer with about like 150,000 miles on it. Look, this car is cemented as a legend in the car world, and in no small part due to the Fast and Furious movies.
What's the retail on one of those?
But more than that, it is actually a pretty fantastic car for those looking for a driver-oriented whip. Back in 2008, the Mitsubishi came with 291 horsepower engine with a turbocharger, and it was potent. But the sticker price was almost $45,000 again in 2008, and that was more than like competition from Europe, like for the BMW 3 Series was literally cheaper than that. And to top everything off, the interior compared to the Germans was bleak. Cheap plastic and rubber everywhere, with the performance being its only real saving grace. But still, thanks to the infamous Fast films, the sales didn't really dwindle, and the Lancer Evolution continued to be produced until 2015. But there are some artist renditions and whispers from Mount Doom that we might see a new one released. Just putting that out there, just for the kids. Now, we've gone over some of the fancy smanchies, but how about a sleeper under 10,000? And I introduced to you the Acura RSX Type S. It has the most plain look in the world. Honestly, it's not breaking any necks. Even if you put a giant anime waifu on the hood, that might break my neck. More importantly, this car's main value lies once again under the hood. The engine puts out 210 horsepower and has a 0 to 60 time just over 6 seconds, and for a 2005 cars, that's high. Acura stated that they put this coupe out to compete with the European competition, but was priced quite reasonably at 25K. Cheaper than the Euros, but still offering a lot of power when it first came out. Inside the RSX, you get a very neat and tidy setup that is super intuitive, driver focused, and gives all the information you need. Since it is a coupe though, the rear seat headroom is like non-existent, but surprisingly, I enjoyed the trunk space in this one. It's surprisingly spacious for your cargo. Okay, these final few cars, we're going to put practicality as paramount. And I start with the Volvo C30 T5. Solid. We all know Volvo's got the solid build quality, it's got a turbocharged engine, and it's a hatchback, all under $10,000. And I'm not gonna lie, it does look like a whip for someone who runs a fish market but only sells beef. If you can get over the looks, there's a lot of value in the interior, especially since it is a coupe, but the rear seats are actually not too tight or congested. And aside from just getting cargo in the trunk, you can also get quite a bit on the rear seats as well. As far as performance is concerned, the brakes are fantastic and very linear, and the throttle is not jerky like you might get with something like a 2010 Nissan Versa. Excuse me. The Volvo gives you a very smooth ride, fantastic brakes, fantastic engine. With the turbocharger, you cannot go wrong. Now, I want to give a few shout outs to some honorable mentions because we have to do that. First of all, the Volkswagen Golf R32. It didn't make the list due to its super low availability of like actually drive-worthy units with like less than 200,000 miles. The Toyota Sienna from 2010 didn't make the list for its absolute supremacy and cult following that I didn't want to be associated with. And finally, the Mazda RX-8 from like 2004, because for under 10,000, you're getting coach doors, Those are the same ones that are on Kim Jong-un's Rolls Royce. And you can complete the look by slapping some Starlight headliner, gaining a few pounds, and you're basically a dictator. I hope I was able to provide some insight into some cool, cheaper car options under $10,000. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button because it really helps grow this channel. This has been the Wangan Loop, and until next time, take it easy. Peace.